Welcome back to the second chapter on this Rome saga. Don't forget to subscribe and follow up for new videos coming. Thanks. After Romulus, the founder and first king of Rome, the city entered a new era where monarchy continued to shape its destiny. While Romulus had established the foundations of Roman society, its military strength, and its religious customs, his death, or mysterious disappearance as some believed, left Rome needing a new leader. The kings who followed were instrumental in turning the fledgling settlement into a structured and powerful city. 4 rulers directly carried on Romulus' legacy, each leaving their mark on Rome's evolution before the Etruscans took control. The first to inherit Romulus' mantle was Numa Pompilius, a man of a completely different nature. While Romulus was a warrior, a conqueror, and a man of action, Numa was a peacemaker, a philosopher, and a deeply religious figure. Born among the Sabines, Numa was chosen by the Roman people to be their king, a testament to how much Rome had already begun to integrate with its neighboring cultures. Numa's reign was marked not by war, but by the establishment of Rome's religious institutions. He was said to have been guided by the nymph Egeria, a divine spirit who revealed sacred knowledge to him. Whether this was myth or not, what cannot be denied is that Numa laid the groundwork for Rome's religious system. He established the Vestal Virgins in Rome, an institution of priestesses dedicated to the goddess Vesta, guardian of the hearth. The eternal flame they maintained symbolized the eternal life of Rome itself. Numa also created the Pontifex Maximus, the High Priest of Rome, a title that would later be used by emperors and even popes. He built the Temple of Janus, whose doors would remain open in times of war and closed in times of peace, a practice that persisted throughout Roman history. Under Numa's rule, Rome developed a deep spiritual identity, reinforcing the idea that the city was blessed by the gods and had a destiny beyond mere conquest. Despite Numa's efforts for peace, Rome could not remain without conflict forever. The next king, Tullus Hostilius, was Romulus reborn in a different form. Where Numa had sought harmony, Tullus sought glory and war. Rome was still young, still surrounded by hostile neighbors, and Tullus saw that its survival depended on its ability to dominate its surroundings. His reign was defined by military campaigns, the most famous of which was the war against Alba Longa, the ancient city from which Romulus and Remus had descended. The war between Rome and Alba Longa was settled in a way that would become legendary. Instead of a full-scale battle, 3 Roman brothers, the Horatii, fought against 3 Alban brothers, the Curiatii, in single combat to determine the fate of the cities. 2 of the Horatii were killed, leaving only 1 survivor, but through clever strategy he defeated all 3 of his Alban rivals. Rome won, but the victory was marred by tragedy. The surviving Horatius killed his own sister when she mourned for one of the fallen Curiatii to whom she had been betrothed. Tullus, though victorious, saw that war brought not just glory, but grief. Nonetheless, he continued his campaigns, expanding Rome's influence. However, his own story took a dark turn. It was said that he had neglected Rome's religious duties, dismissing the gods in favor of pure militarism. In the end, Jupiter himself struck Tullus down with a bolt of lightning, punishing him for his impiety and reminding Rome that war alone could not sustain its future. With the death of Tullus, Rome swung back toward the model of Numa with its next ruler, Ancus Marcius. If Tullus was Romulus reborn, Ancus was the second coming of Numa. He was, in fact, Numa's grandson, and he ruled with the belief that Rome needed balance between war and peace, between conquest and tradition. He reinforced Rome's religious practices, ensuring that the city did not fall into the same mistake as Tullus in angering the gods. Yet Ancus was not weak. He understood that Rome could not simply retreat into spirituality and expect to survive. His greatest achievement was Rome's expansion beyond its original borders. He secured Rome's position along the Tiber River, ensuring control over trade routes and strengthening the city's economic power. He built the first bridge across the Tiber, the Pons Sublicius, a crucial step in turning Rome into a dominant power in Italy. He also founded the port of Ostia, which would become vital in Rome's maritime expansion and trade networks. Through Ancus, Rome solidified its position not just as a city of warriors, nor just as a city of priests, but as a civilization that balanced conquest with culture, religion with governance, and power with diplomacy. The last of the 4 kings after Romulus was Lucius Tarquinius Priscus, the first Etruscan ruler of Rome. Though Rome had been developing under the influence of its neighbors, this was the moment when it truly began to merge with the great Etruscan civilization to the north. Tarquinius, sometimes called Tarquin the Elder, was not even originally from Rome. He was an Etruscan noble who moved to the city and, through skill and cunning, rose to power. His reign marked a turning point in Rome's transformation from a simple city into a great power. He expanded Rome's military might, continuing the work of Tullus and Ancus, but his greatest contributions were in infrastructure and urban development. He laid the foundations for what would become the Great Roman Forum, the heart of the city's political and social life. He began the construction of the Circus Maximus, which would become the largest stadium in the Roman world. He improved Rome's defenses, strengthening its walls and fortifications. Most importantly, he began the project that would lead to one of Rome's most crucial landmarks, the great temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus on the Capitoline Hill. This was a declaration that Rome was not just a rising city, but a future empire, one that would one day rival the greatest civilizations of the world. Tarquinius Priscus was assassinated, a reminder that Rome's political world was as dangerous as its battlefields. His death would lead to the reign of Servius Tullius, and later the infamous Tarquin the Proud, whose cruelty would end the monarchy and give rise to the Roman Republic. But the legacy of the first kings, the four rulers who followed Romulus, would remain embedded in Rome's identity. Each of these kings contributed something essential to Rome's evolution. Numa Pompilius gave the city its religious and moral framework, ensuring that Rome would always see itself as a city under the protection of the gods. Tullus Hostilius made Rome a warrior state, proving that it could not only defend itself but expand its power through military conquest. Ancus Marcius blended war and religion, expansion and governance, setting the stage for Rome's ability to adapt and survive. Finally, Tarquinius Priscus brought Rome into the wider world, linking it with the advanced Etruscan civilization and beginning the transformation of Rome from a mere city into a metropolis. Rome's monarchy would end, but its legacy would live on. The republic that followed would keep many of the institutions and traditions established by these kings. The Senate, which had been an advisory body to the monarchs, would become the ruling force of the republic. The religious institutions established by Numa would continue to hold sway over Roman politics. The military ambition of Tullus and the infrastructural vision of Tarquinius would shape Rome for centuries. Even when the republic itself fell and the emperors took power, they would continue to claim divine favor, military might, and the legacy of Rome's earliest rulers as justification for their rule. The Rome of the emperors, the Rome of Julius Caesar, Augustus, and beyond, would still carry the mark of the four kings who followed Romulus. They had set the foundation for the eternal city, a city that would outlast them all.